Hello and welcome to our briefing session for candidates who are standing in the elections in 2018. My name is Patrick and I'm the President of the Students Association, and we're holding this candidate briefing session to give you a little bit of information about what you can expect this election time, as well as some tips and tricks. Firstly, congratulations on getting this far. You should be really proud of yourself for standing and coming forward and trying to make a difference for students. It can be a bit daunting sometimes, but you're doing something that's for the betterment of the university, for your students. And there's no greater reward than trying to do something like this. In this presentation, we'll try to cover all the essentials related running in a student association election, introducing you to what a student association is, tips about campaigning, and explaining the voting system we use, and talking about the support we offer to candidates. And try to remember, this isn't the one chance you get to find out about this stuff, and you can contact us at any time with questions at elections@user.ed.ac.uk. Move over to the first slide. So just to give you an overview about us, we're a students association or students union in many places, or guild if you're in places like Birmingham. We're here to help students get the best out of their studies, help students make friends and have fun, support students if they need advice, and help students develop skills for their career. We're here for students in many places across most campuses, trying to help support all of our 39,500 students in everything that they do. A quick overview of our values: students first, a place for all, a home from home, and power to change. These are key ideas that we as a students association and as an organisation try keep up with, maintain, and put at the forefront of what we do as an organisation. And the crucial thing there is obviously students first, because we are run for and by students. So how are we set up? The Student Association is led by students. There are 5 sabbatical officers who are directors of the organisation, which are the President, the Vice President Community, the Vice President Education, the Vice President Activities and Services, and the Vice President Welfare. We have many reps who represent and promote the interests of different groups of students around the university, whether they're from a particular school, a group with specific needs, or of marginalised students like student parents and carers, or liberation background like Black BME, disabled students, LGBT+, and the Women's Officer. We offer lots of ways for members to influence what we do by getting in contact with the studying for election or just attending student council. And we also have permanent staff and casual staff, most of whom are students, to support our election officers and reps to help deliver our services to students. So we have many outlets across the university as well, such as the library bar or the Magnet Cafe and the JCMB. There's many things we offer, and the deli in King's Buildings, which is very popular and very delicious. So key dates you'll need for this election time. The nominations period closed at 5 p.m. on the 22nd of February. So if you're watching this and wanting to stand, I'm afraid you'll have to wait till our PG election in October, or for any by-elections that may occur as a result of this election. The preparation period starts on the 22nd of February and continues on until the 1st of March. The campaigning period starts at midday on the Thursday, the 1st of March, and ends at 5 p.m. on Thursday, the 8th of March. The election debate for sabbatical officers is currently set to be at 7 p.m. on Thursday, the 1st of March, with voting going on from 10 a.m. on Monday, the 5th of March, to 5 p.m. on Thursday, the 8th of March. You'll note that campaigning starts a few days earlier than voting opens, and it's important to get yourself out there early to hit the ground running once voting is open. And the results event is on at 6:30 p.m. on Friday, the 9th of March. It's a very fun event this year. It will be held in the Posh Road Dome and in the venue, and there'll be a little after party afterwards for people to celebrate or to just enjoy the time. I mean, the campaigning period is just one of the best times that you can have. You go out and talk to loads of different people, you get to speak to a whole host of different people on different campuses, and it's fantastic fun. So up next is we're talking about campaigning and what to expect from campaigns. So a key thing is the publicity budget. So every representative gets a publicity budget, and they're provided by the Students' Association, and you can get that money in a number of ways. You can order things directly through the Students' Association, or you can what's the term? You can track back your orders expense. That's it. You can expense expenditure through the Students' Association by providing receipts for things that you've purchased in order to help your campaign. Candidates can't top up their budgets, but they can buy items to fix posters, etc. Split your budget as you wish. On printed items, other promotional items, I had Snapchat filters. You can spend it on. Some people spend it on promotional activity on Facebook, or down to the normal, very conventional things such as flyers and posters, etc. The publicity budget for association office bearers, i.e. SAB candidates, so if you're running for any of the 5 sabbatical positions, you get £90, and for all other positions you get £30. Student Association will reimburse you for the items purchased within the budget. It's important you must not exceed the publicity budget, because we want to make sure that there's a level playing field for people. So this means you can't top it up with your own money or other people's money. And that's just to make sure that the elections are run as fairly and equally as possible. And yeah, there's a lot of different things you can spend the money on, so make sure you spend it wisely and make sure you spend it effectively. Posters are a key part of this. There are specific areas where you're allowed to put up posters. There are also specific rules about when and how you can campaign at public halls, where there are various poster outings as well. The posters can only be put up at midday on the start of campaigns, which is the Thursday, the 1st at midday. So you will want to be prepared. Myself and my campaign team, we were there half an hour before to make sure we could get the best spots, but that's on all parts of the university, so out at Easterbush, King's Buildings, down at Moray House, on Central, everywhere. Once the campaign kicks off is when you can put up your posters. You can put your posters up at the poster spots. So it's important to make sure you're there to put them up, but also make sure you have a good spot to put them in, so it's visible, so people can see them. And there are good walkways as well, so try to think of which way people will be able to perceive them from. The posters can be displayed across different places, and that's on page 5 of the candidates guide if you want to find out those specific spaces. And when campaigning, which isn't necessarily under posters, but an important thing is to remember that you want to avoid campaigning either putting up posters or handing out flyers, in like eating spaces, the library, or teaching spaces. Mostly this is actually against the rules. However, it's also because, again, like in the library, if you walk up to a desk, someone's trying to work, it probably won't look very good for your campaign if you're the person who's annoying people in the library. But equally, if you're the person outside the library with a stall that people can go up and talk to, or you're outside the library handing out flyers, it'll allow people to approach you in a way that is more amiable and more fair for them as well. So make sure you try to avoid spaces where people are just trying to, trying to work, teaching spaces or eating. And yeah, it's crucial to concentrate on where students are as students come socialise. So there are specific areas you'll know, and there will be specific areas that your friends from specific campuses know of as well. So if you're running for a school position, you'll know the specific areas in that school that have a sort of concentrated cohort of that student population. If you're a candidate for an association-wide position, then you'll be able to find various places across the campuses where students get together. Okay, so moving on to the next slide, we'll get to talk about slates. If you've never heard of the slate before, it's where a group of candidates run together for a number of positions under a common name or banner. These are not allowed in student association elections. It stops people from pooling resources to give unfair advantage to them, but it also means that candidates concentrate on their own campaigns and don't necessarily worry or provide too much resource to other people's campaign. This means you cannot run for different positions as a group or in a common name or common platform. and all publicity you provide must support you and only you and be unique to you. It's quite crucial that this is followed, as it can cause quite a lot of problems for candidates who seem to be running on slates. And yeah, it's quite a simple and basic rule, but it's one that needs to be followed. So, top tips for campaigning and these elections. There are a number of specific things you want to make sure you're doing or like focus on. So number one, obviously, is talk to students. They're the electorate, they're your friends, they're people you know, and they're people you don't know, and they're people who may study something entirely different to you, maybe in a different part of the campus. For most positions, there'll be people who are eligible to vote for you and people who may not know about you or may not know about your platform, but want to find out more about it. So talking to students in a friendly way, in a positive way, engaging with them if they want to be engaged with, are like crucial parts of campaigning in elections. You have to be able to approach people, you have to be approachable, and you have to just try feel confident in talking to those people and putting yourself out there a bit. You should target groups of students, including clubs and societies, so get in touch with them, find out if there are things that they want to talk to you about, find out if there are things that you can help them with, because ultimately you might end up representing them at the end of the day, and their views are really important. Also, explain to them what you can offer them, what your campaign says about them, and hopefully you can get into people that way. Again, clubs, sort of going out to the sports union, speaking to people, and clubs can be a really key part of that. Targeting key areas on campus. As I said previously, there are a lot of different spaces across the city and out of the city centre that are not necessarily people's primary focus. If you're running on a student association-wide position, however, these are places that people want to hear from you. These are places where people have things they want to address or things they might want to address with you, and they're people who will appreciate you taking the time to spend speaking to them, and it'll be valuable to your campaign and your electoral success. I mean, if you are just running for a school-specific thing, again, you'll know the areas where people from your school will be. But if you're running on an association-wide campaign, then you should be aiming to try and get to as many tiny facets of the university as possible to try speak to people. And this again comes down to spend time where students spend their time. There are thousands of students at different parts of the campus that you in your day-to-day probably don't get to or won't get to or may have even never been to. During my campaign, I went to a number of parts of the university for the first time. But it not only will help prepare you for representing people, it'll also help you speak to people and find out what their problems are. And hopefully get you a few votes along the way. The main thing to do is, and these last two things are crucial for me, is that you don't worry if you start feeling overwhelmed or you feel like you might need to take time off, because it's quite key that your well-being and your welfare are not compromised by trying to win an election, because it is not worth becoming ill and feeling down and running yourself into the ground if essentially it's if again there is limited time and there are a lot of things to do, but make sure you're doing everything you can do, not everything you feel like you should do, because there'll be a list of things you feel like you should do as long as the day is, and you will not be able to do it all. So prioritize things, and above all, prioritize your own well-being and your own welfare. So if your body tells you maybe tonight I shouldn't go door knocking, maybe this morning I can't go out and leaflet, I just need some rest, then do it. Because to be honest, in the long run, for the success of your campaign, you going out there feeling like feeling not very good will not benefit your campaign either. You not being on top form will not help you be able to approach students, because you will be able to not feel up to it, and they will sense that too. So allow yourself the breathing space and chance to get better if you start to feel down or feel ill or feel like you need to take time off, because it's a very busy time, it's a very challenging time, it's a very draining time, and speaking from experience, if you need time away, you need to take time away. There's no two ways about it. You definitely shouldn't push yourself to do more, because again, it's all the things that you can do, not the things you feel like you should do. And another key thing is Focus on your own campaign, stay in your lane, do not concern yourself with the activities of others. If you see someone doing something that you are not okay with and you feel like it's against the rules, contact someone in the Students' Association. But if you start to go down the path of concentrating on what other people are doing and you think it's bad and you want to tell them it's bad, or you want to tell people you're speaking to that what that person is doing is bad, it will not lead you to a good place, either electorally or personally. And I think this is a key part of our elections, is that we make a good habit of trying to focus on our own campaigns and try making sure people basically just, you run your own race, and whatever time you're going to get is the time you're going to get, and you should make sure you focus wholeheartedly on your campaign and not on the campaigns of other people. Which, again, it can sound negative, it's also very positive, because it's essentially saying, you're doing the best that you can do, and you're not trying to copy or assimilate into other people's campaigns. You're running your own you're running your own campaign, you're the master of your own fate, and you're going to do it the way you want to. And by the end of your campaign, same with taking time off your user, if by the end of the campaign you can feel like you've done everything you could do to win the campaign, and things go well or things don't, at least either way you'll be happy that you did everything you could do, and you can be satisfied knowing that you tried your best and gave yourself the best chance, whilst also not compromising any of the things we talked about. So why people vote? This is some research that was carried out, I think, 3 or 4 years ago, and this is in order, and it's quite important. It shows people who voted for particular candidates for these reasons. They were asked directly, they saw something on Facebook, they believed in the candidate, and they had seen posters in popular walkways. Now, obviously it's in order, so the number one thing is they were asked directly. Now, we know from experience that some people believe they can concentrate on the online aspect and do a sort of 90% online, 10% sort of, shaking hands and sort of talking to people and handing out leaflets and stuff. But the facts are that really the best way to persuade anyone that you're really up for it, really keen, and talk to them about your ideas is just being out there and talking to people directly. And asking people directly can be anything. It can be, it can be talking to an entire lecture theatre of people doing a lecture shout out, or it can be, having a stall and someone coming up to chat to you about things, or it can be handing out a flyer and having a brief 15-second interaction with someone. It shows people you care, it shows people you want to know what they think, and it has that personal touch that sometimes social media and online campaigning just can't give you. And it's, pressing the flesh is the rule number one in political campaigning in my book, because you have to be able to go out there and show people you're bothered enough to go out and speak to them, or at least seem like you are able to contact people as directly as you can. The second thing is they saw something on Facebook, which is again another crucial part, which is that you have to be on social media, you have to be in a place where people can hear you, see you when they're not at university, when they're because not everyone will be on campus in the week of voting. Not everyone will be. You will not be able to speak to 39,500 people personally. But Facebook allows your net to be a bit wider, and allow you to pick up some more people. And it also allows people to find you easier, which is really important. Thirdly, they believed in the candidate. It's crucial that what you're doing is genuine. You're being honest with people about what you want, how you feel, and the way you think things should be. And that is, again, their belief in you. Part of that is you persuading them to believe in you, but part of that is, your own belief in yourself and your drive and honesty in your own campaign. And finally, they've seen posters in popular walkways. Again, posters will be there all hours of the day when you can't be. They will be on the side. They will be an expression of who you are as an individual, who you are as a candidate. They will give people that micro interaction that you will not be able to have with, again, 39,500 people. But it does mean that they are a really important part of the way you should campaign, because what your posters look like and how people perceive them is, again, sometimes underthought process and something that people, it's that classic marketing thing of, that people need 3 touch points in order to make an action. And so if they see your poster, they see something on Facebook, and then they see you out handing a flyer, or you chat them quickly, you will more than likely get them on side to vote for you. And again, these are some of the most popular things. There are some things you could do that could be massively innovative. There's things you can do that could be quite out there and quite special. So don't be afraid to try new things, but remember that these are the things, if you're trying to find some inspiration, these are the things that really got, when we did some research, really showed why people voted for specific candidates. So next we're going to talk about some candidate support that we have. So we have a number of tips and advice from the Student Association website. There's also this presentation, we'll have them, and there's the candidates guide as well, and there's lots of training events to help you plan and write your campaigns. They'll all be available they'll all be noted down in the candidates briefing sessions that you can go to. They'll also be noted down in the candidates guide. Coming up, there's the sabbatical public speaking and hosting preparation. So that's on Tuesday the 27th of February between 5 and 6 p.m. in Pleasance. There's poster and banner making session on the 28th of February in the Rep Hub between 10 a.m. and 5 p.m. And Democracy Daily, every day during elections, every day, can you believe it? Every day, you will be able to come into Potterrow and get some free teas and coffees and pastries. And we're making sure that people feel like they're supported and feel like they can come in and chat to us about things. They can, talk about their worries, or like get some a bit more advice, or just to be able to sit down and calm down for a bit. Because again, as we spoke about previously, it's really important that you're able to just take some time off to regroup and rethink and keep going. Because time off to keep going is sometimes feels like a contradiction, but it very much isn't. You have to, I think the old analogy is sharpening your sword. You have to take time away to be able to really effectively work. And that's what, so feel free to pop into Potterrow to the Rep Hub to get some free teas and coffees and pastries every day. It'd be great to see you. There's also the Elections Roadshow. So 12 to 2 every day of the campaign period will be in a different location. So email elections@usa.ed.ac.uk to find out more, or pop into the office and we'll be able to help out, let you know where they are. Not fully confirmed yet, which is why we're not quite able to have them on here. But the crucial thing is, if you have any questions, just contact us at that elections@usa.ed.ac.uk email address, or on the phone number that's on the screen. Next up, we get to talk about one of my favourite things in the world, because I'm really cool, voting systems. Voting systems are the be-all and end-all of your election, because this is how they decide whether you are going to be a winner or not. So the voting system is single transferable vote, or it's STV or ATV, depending on where you look at it. It elects the most consensual candidate, and which means that it's a ranking system. So people who are voting vote via preference, and it's about finding a candidate which most voters want to take up a position. So for multiple positions, it's called single transferable vote, whilst for a single position, it's called alternative transferable vote. But the main thing is that what it means for you in practice is that a candidate, one thing that you'll come across, which I came across a lot whilst I was campaigning, is you will speak to people and they will say something like, "Oh, I've already voted." And it will seem at that point that all hope is lost, but it's not, because they can preferential vote. And many, many times have SAPs been elected on the 3rd, 4th, and 5th preference. So if they say, "I've already voted," you go, "Have you put a second preference?" "Yes." "Well, have you put a third preference?" "Have you put a fourth, fifth?" Put me down as a preference, just if you can. Because again, like, if you can get someone to put you down as a second preference, great. Third preference, great. Fourth preference, great. Just try and get on their preference list. Because them voting, some people often think they cast one vote and that's it. This way you can vote for as many people or as few people as you'd want to. But it means you as a candidate have the ability to say to people who may have already been, someone may have already spoken to them from a different campaign and managed to persuade them to vote for them. But all hope is not lost, because they can add you as their second preference, or any preference. That's the key thing. Any preference, because you would be surprised as to how many of these elections have come down to 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th rounds. And that means that while you may consider it to not be ideal to have someone's 6th preference, in the end, it could very well make you win the election. So candidates are elected when they meet a quota, and the quota is calculated by using this equation below. Number of valid votes divided by number of available positions plus 1. So in a single vacancy election, a candidate needs half the votes or more to be elected, which then leads to the round by round elimination of those with the fewest votes, adding up preferences to see who can get to half first, which is the quota. So there is, as with all great elections, there is a returning officer. Who is the returning officer? Well, I'm glad you asked. We asked the same question. They ensure the election runs fairly and smoothly. They rule on complaints and disputes. They interpret election rules and regulations and make rulings along the way. Your returning officer is not Mike Williamson. The returning officer is someone called Anne. So I apologise that that's wrong on the slide, but it shouldn't be. And yeah, so that's not the returning officer, but you will have information of who the returning officer is underneath this video, and the accurate name of the returning officer. And the deputy returning officer is Hazel Blair, who is a fantastic person from the Students' Association. And they make sure the election runs smoothly, they make it run fairly, they make sure that candidates have equal and fair access to rulings that will help decide how the campaign is shaping up in terms of regulations and rules. But more importantly, they help make sure that students feel like they get a fair hearing if they're running, and you feel like if you have an issue, you can talk to them about whether it is an issue, whether it is something that can be taken further, or whether it's just something that isn't in the rules or regulations anyway. So they're very useful people to know of. So, final tips. Feels almost momentous. There's a lot of final tips, really, because it's a super fun time and it's really great. I can't overstate it. I sound like I'm being hyperbolic or maybe even sarcastic, but I'm not. Like, it really is just the most fun that you can have, that you get to go out and find and speak to so many people that you've never spoken to before, or find so many people and find out what they want or what interests them, and like sort of speak to them about. It's a great way to go out there, is to just be looking forward to speaking to people. And at the start, it will feel a little bit daunting. At the start, it'll feel a little bit like, oh God, what am I doing? Or, oh, this is a bit uncomfortable. But like all these things, you'll mold into it as time goes on. And just enjoy it. Enjoy speaking to people. Like, enjoy speaking to the people you come across, because they are all vast, varied, and wonderful, and they will be able to give you some insight. You might be able to give them some insight, and hopefully you'll be able to persuade them to vote for you. But even if they're not that interested, you'll come across a whole variety of people that are you'll at least get to speak to a little bit. Remember that your course is always your top priority. Elections should not supersede academia. We are here at university to study. We are not here at university to run a student election. As much fun as they are, just make sure you do not sacrifice your grades, because your election, winning or losing, will be here for a year. Your degree will be with you for much longer. So do not sacrifice your course or your own well-being. That should also be on there. Do not sacrifice your course, and do not sacrifice your own well-being, because neither of those things are worth sacrificing for the sake of an election, no matter how important it may seem at the time. Prepare to win, but be ready to lose. I ran my campaign just like this. I thought every day that I was going to lose, but it'd be a nice surprise if I won. And it can help you. It can help you feel positive about the campaign to be preparing to win, but also can make you feel okay with losing if you are just okay with losing, and also okay in the knowledge that if you have been, if you have done everything you can, if you have tried to do everything you can, and if you have basically put all the effort you could afford to into the campaign, you have done everything you can to try win. And if you don't win, then maybe it wasn't your year. And if you do win, great. But always be, prepare to win and be ready to lose. It's the mantra. And finally, focus on why you're a great candidate. I'm sure you're a fantastic candidate. I'm sure you know what you're doing, and I'm sure you know how to run your campaign. And so do that. Just run your campaign. Keep an eye on your own campaign. Focus on what you can do best. Focus on, have your plan and stick to it. Because your plan is what's going to make you a great person, and why you're a great candidate is what's going to make you a great office holder. So don't pay attention to what other people are doing. Don't get sidetracked on what might or might not pop up. Things will come up, things will get in the way, things will cause issues sometimes. Just move like water and go around them as easily as possible. Find the path of least resistance and get yourself moving forward as easy as you can. And try not get bogged down in things. Just try keep your head above water and try keep yourself on track. Because ultimately, you are the candidate, you are the person who is striving to achieve, and you are the person who you have to find that and maintain that self-belief, and not try focus on why other person is bad, but why you're great. So yeah, thank you for tuning in. It's been a lot of fun, but most importantly, good luck. Remember, if you have any questions during the elections period, then drop us an email at elections@usa.ed.ac.uk. Call us or pop into the Poshrow office to talk to us. Feel free to send me an email, president@usa.ed.ac.uk. And yeah, it's one of the best experiences you will ever have is running in elections, because they are both so much fun and so rewarding. Even if you lose, you get all the experience that you have of talking to people, of public speaking, of just having the organizational skill to put together a campaign. I mean, it really is just one of the best things you can do. It's an all-encompassing fun time. Even if things don't quite work out the way you want them to, there will always be vast rewards for running, vast rewards for putting all your effort in, even if they don't end at you getting the position. But most importantly, run as if you're going to get the position, because have self-belief